Hey guys, welcome to Cozy Fireside edition of AGGA Controlled Arch Braces Update, complete with Pigeon immediately getting in the shot, but I'm not gonna start re-recording because that's a slippery slope. So since my last update where I told you guys that I can't do the implants, I've had 2 orthodontic visits. And I neglected to update you after the last one because it wasn't super eventful. But at the last one, the only thing they did was put in something called an ART, which stands for, I wrote it down so I didn't forget, anterior root torquing spring. And essentially they just did that to tilt my front teeth forward a little bit because my teeth were pretty straight up and down and you want a little bit of tilt, forward tilt. And actually my understanding is that most AGGA patients, that's probably not the right term, most people with AGGA end up with too much tooth tipping because obviously that forward force on the teeth as they're coming forward. Whereas for me, when I got the AGGA off, my front teeth looked pretty good. They had about the ideal amount of forward tipping. So as we've been pulling premolars forward, they kind of tipped back. So we're having to retip them some. So they wanted to, that's my cat again. We're sticking with it though. We're not re-recording. I should probably re-record. I'm not going to. They wanted to keep that in for 1 6-week, I guess, stint of orthodontia before starting to pull the molars forward. So we did that at the last visit. Then at this most previous visit, which was last week, we did quite a lot because we started to pull the back molars forward. So they left in the ART, and I'll show you guys that. It's probably hard to see. Yeah, I mean, I promise at the end when all this is said and done, I'll share more pictures of the inside of my mouth than you know what to do with, because I know people are always asking me to show them like my back molars and stuff like that. Honestly, the video it doesn't pick it up well with the forward facing camera. It's not really conducive to that. And I don't have a better camera for this purpose at this time. So eventually I will share many detailed progression pictures of the inside of my mouth. Until then, you just get me talking and updating you this way. Sorry. But yeah, this last visit, they kept in the ART, and they changed my top wire to the final wire, which is a stainless steel wire. It's a very sturdy wire. And they also took out the top FRLA lingual wire, which this was kind of funny because when the hygienist said she was going to take it out, I was like, oh, well, isn't that the thing that's keeping the controlled arch braces controlled arch? Like, isn't that the main thing that makes these braces different from other braces and keeps the teeth forward and, you know, keeps them from retracting backwards? And she was like, and I was like, well, why would you not need that anymore? Why wouldn't you just leave it in? And her answer was, oh, well, we don't need that because the stainless steel wire in the top is so sturdy, like it's not going anywhere. And that may very well be the case, like that might be totally true. But I realized a few seconds later, the obvious real reason that they're taking it out and not leaving it in is because it was attached to my back molars, and you can't obviously move the back molars forward with that wire still attached. Because and again, I'm not going to be able to show you very easily, but that FRLA lingual wire went from that molar around behind my upper teeth to the other back molar. So it went fully following my upper dental arch. So yeah, obviously the main real reason to take that out is because you can't have it in there when you're pulling those molars forward. So I took that out, which means I can enunciate my words better now, which is great. I can, you know, say T's and stuff, like hard T's, not lispy T's. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, we also, as I said, started pulling the molars forward. So they just attached the power chain from my premolars to my molars. Again, you probably can't see that well. But interestingly, the power chain is only going to the first molar on each side, and I have a second molar behind each one. And the second molar, the very back molar on either side, doesn't even have a bracket on it. Has nothing on it. It's just a naked tooth. And I asked her about it, and she said that they just tend to float forward. They just kind of tend to follow the other molar forward, which is very weird to me. Initially, it was extremely weird to me and made absolutely no sense. As I thought about it more, it's like, okay, well, I guess if the molar in front of it is moving forward, it's leaving in its wake all of this space where the bone is like not that solid because the tooth roots have moved through it. So it kind of makes sense that the molar behind it would just kind of follow. I'll ask my orthodontist for a better explanation of how and why that happens next time I'm in. But at the time I had already talked to him about other stuff. So I was just asking the hygienist. So I'll ask him next time and report back. But apparently that happens. Like I said, it's been about a week. I don't notice a ton of molar movement yet. I do definitely notice that my front teeth feel like they're kind of, it feels like they're being used to anchor pulling really sturdy molars with sturdy roots forward. Like that's what it feels like. So, I mean, I'm a little bit nervous about having a ton of like space loss and regression of the forward growth that I'd gained during the AGGA phase. I've definitely already had some, and some of it is from the teeth tipping back, and that will be fixed before it's all said and done. But there's for sure been some regression too. But just got to remind myself that I got a full centimeter of forward growth with AGGA. So even if I lose half a centimeter, which would be a lot during the whole braces process, I'm still going to be coming out half a centimeter ahead of where I was to start. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to worry about it too much. As usual, my orthodontist seems extremely confident and extremely happy with how my case is going and all that. So I'm just kind of trusting the process. They're keeping the ART in for, I guess, the whole rest of the time. I can't imagine it's doing it doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot right now. So I imagine at the very end, we'll have to do some more aggressive tipping of my front teeth out, which will probably introduce some space, but that's okay because I have, you probably noticed I have very small incisors on either side, lateral incisors, I believe they're called. So I think we're going to do veneers on those at the end to make them more normal sized, and as sort of a closing the last little bit of space that I'll probably have from tipping my teeth. So that's the plan. The other thing we're still doing, I can't remember if I told you, I probably did, because they gave me the rubber bands a while ago. I'm not wearing them right now, I'm being delinquent, but I'm still supposed to be wearing those. And he said we're going to keep wearing those because having the teeth very sturdily together helps to prevent any backwards movement. which makes sense. The main thing I asked him about, sorry, this is a long video. The main thing I asked him about at this last appointment was I kept noticing that it looked like my midline and all of my teeth were kind of shifting to the right. So I'll show you and you can tell me what you think. Cats just keep knocking over the camera. They're like, I have it sitting up on a chair here in front of the fire and they're sitting on it next to it. But yeah, he took my question very seriously and spent a lot of time with me looking inside my mouth and checking my bite, and he checked the little piece of tissue that connects my upper lip to the gums and compared that with my midline, and it was, you know, right on my midline. He compared where my bottom midline comes together when I bite. So a lot of different things. Basically, my face is just kind of asymmetrical. So my midline looks good, even though to me it often looks like it's too far to the right. It's because of how my nose and eyes and everything are. But the other thing that made me keep thinking that is that the gap on the right seemed smaller than the gap on the left. And so it just made it seem like all of my teeth were like shifting that way. But yeah, he looked at everything. He reassured me that everything looks good. And the main explanation for why that gap was smaller and why everything feels more compressed to me on the right is because it is, but he said that that's kind of how it's supposed to be, and that the ones on the left are still a little bit flared out and they're going to have to tighten up to get proper occlusion on the left. So long story short, he's not worried about anything. He allayed my concerns. I'm obviously still having very asymmetrical muscle use in my mouth to make the right side feel so different from the left. But I'm really trying hard to chew mainly on the left. I just keep running into issues where, like, I don't know, my teeth will be more sore on that side, or I'll have like a pokey wire on that side and stuff like that. Or if I'm just being a baby and don't want to take the time to think about chewing. But I'm working on it. We're getting there. Last thing. I wrote things down this time so I wouldn't forget anything, and it's turning it into a 13-minute video. Again, I'm sorry. But I did ask them about tongue tie. I guess it's called tongue tie release. Basically, they had recommended it way back at the beginning. I said, I don't want to do that yet. I don't really feel like I need it. It doesn't feel like I have a significant tongue tie, and it's just not something I want to do right now. But I've been doing the tongue exercises they recommend, and I've been trying to be more conscious of my tongue habits, and it's become apparent that I probably just don't have quite the range of motion with my tongue that I should. And with some of the exercises, I've noticed that after I do them, the part underneath my tongue that they would release with the tongue tie feels tight and gets sore and kind of limits my range of motion. So I don't think I need a huge tongue tie revision, but they'll probably do a little one for me in January at my next visit. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. I guess I should show you what it looks like now, because the next time I post an update, they might have already lasered it. So it would just be that little piece of tissue that they would kind of laser a little bit. So yeah, that is all of the updates. Overall, things are still going smoothly. Again, a little bit concerned about the space loss, and again, that's kind of the big disappointment with not being able to do implants, but that's just how things go. And as several people have pointed out to me, there are definitely risks to dental implants, and there's certainly something to be said for keeping all of the teeth in your mouth just natural teeth. So yeah, as always, let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, and I will talk to you guys next time.